Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Hello. I know you're getting sleepy. Am I the last presenter? John, am I the last one today? Second to last. Okay, so it's kind of my job to keep us all awake. So yesterday, I talked about a bunch of stuff. Ingrid and I were on stage, and we said, what's happening with Feed the Planet? And one of the things we kept coming back to was we've started all these things, and they're ready for prime time, they're ready for you to adopt. And one of the things that we talked about was the curriculum, the sustainability curriculum. And that's what I'm going to focus on right now. How many of you, just quick show of hands, how many of you are in the educational world? You're teachers, you're running schools, you're involved in schools? Excellent, thank you. And how many of you work tangentially with schools? So maybe it's your chef organization, you have a bunch of schools, you work with them, you touch them, you know the leaders of those schools. How many of you? Okay, that's great, because I need to have a conversation with all of you like in the next day or so. Because through your actions, we can take this outward. So let me talk to you a little bit about the specifics of our curriculum that we have. So this is the mission of Feed the Planet. We talked about this yesterday, but you'll see one of the big pieces there is the educational component, which is why I'm standing in front of you today. And the way that we see sustainability is we divide it up into 4 pieces: food, energy, water, and waste. Now, some people will say, but whoa, wait a minute, you forgot social responsibility. No, we didn't. We purposefully left it out. That's going to be for a part 2 down the road, because that's going to be a much bigger presentation. One of the things we're going to talk about is the size of this curriculum, and we wanted to keep it manageable. As a result, we cut it into 4 pieces. And just to sort of bring us back for a second, because as an educator for the last 20 years, I can't resist the opportunity to teach a little bit. It's in my blood. So we talk about sustainability. What does it mean? Sustainability is very simply, if we leave the planet in a situation that is equal or better than it is today, we have done our job. If we leave the planet to those who come after us in a situation that is worse than it is today, then we have not done our job. Simple definition. And frankly, for those of us in the room that are my age or older, it's really not so much our problem. We created it, and we're leaving it for the generation that's coming behind us. So it really is our responsibility to try to fix it. This photo you might recognize, those of you who are in Norway, Julian Cribb. Julian Cribb sat on stage. Julian Cribb wrote this amazing book called The Coming Famine. Julian Cribb challenged us to think about sustainability, to change the way we do things. And a number of the slides that come after this is really taking from his book. And it's this concept of the perfect storm. It's the concept that we're creating something that will be the largest crisis ever to face the human race and many other species on our planet. So, what is the problem? Why are we even talking about sustainability? I always joke around that when I started in the kitchen, it's a long time ago, sustainability wasn't a word. Nobody talked about sustainability. Nobody talked about water. Nobody talked about energy. We all just thought it would be there. And there'd be plenty of food, plenty of water. We don't have anything to worry about. But actually, we do. And the reason we do is very simple. It's this little equation up on the screen, which is we have a population that is growing hugely so. We're going to add a couple more billion to the planet in the next 30 or so years. That's a problem. But on top of that, the people who are on the planet are consuming more, and they want to consume more. So we have more people wanting to consume more. See where this is going? And then you layer on top of that things like climate change, which is making the production of the resources even more problematic. In other words, growing and producing food as we move forward will become increasingly unpredictable in a planet with more people wanting to eat more. The result, we have a depletion of resources, scarcity of resources, and it's a big problem, and will only get bigger. On the slide behind me is, I love this, it's 4 planet Earths. It's a really kind of fun statistic. Myself being an American, I poke a little fun at us, which is that if everybody on this planet lived as we do, we would need 4 planets to support us all. And that's the direction we're going in. So, it's a huge problem. So a couple of things just for you to sort of contemplate, and then we're going to get into this curriculum. These are just sort of some of the things that, okay, so we have sustainability, and then I have people say, well, okay, we're chefs, right? We cook. We make people happy. We run businesses. That's what we do. And that is what we do. But the reality is that we intersect food service intersects the sustainability world every day. We buy lots of food, we make lots of garbage, we use lots of energy, we use lots of water. That's what we do. Therefore, we have an extra responsibility to act in a more sustainable manner. And, frankly, it's good business. People come to me a lot of times and they say, look, sustainability, it's expensive. Not necessarily. And in fact, there are many instances where you save money. So, basic concepts. These are just some of the things we've learned over the years of working on sustainability. And I'm just going to go through these quickly. The biggest one, and part of the reason why you're here and I'm talking to you today, is that sustainability is a journey made up of lots of little baby steps that taken in totality takes you somewhere. Translated, you just got to get started. For culinary schools, we know that by adopting this curriculum that I'm going to talk about, it actually is, for many schools, the first baby step forward, and then lots of other stuff follows behind it. And students get engaged, and faculty gets excited, and then change happens. At my school in Chicago, 10, 15 years ago, we put in a very large garden, and at the time I went to one of our chefs and I said, Chef, I really want you to run that garden. That's going to be your job. She ran the fine dining restaurant. And she said, this is not my area of expertise. I really don't know about this. I don't really know much about sustainability. Today, she is one of the leaders in sustainability on our campus. Because she had to take the baby step, and once she took the baby step, everything else followed. Nobody's perfect. Education's important. We're going to talk about that today. And sustainability is complicated, especially when it comes to food. It's complicated. Cumulative actions is a critical concept. I eat a banana. I take the banana peel. What do I do with it? It's just a banana peel. I'll throw it out. But you see, it's all the little decisions that we make every day that all come together to make a global impact. And so in the curriculum, we're going to teach you why that banana peel is important. And we're going to teach the students that every little decision they make is critically important. And of course, education is key. Across the world, we see culinary schools doing so much with sustainability now in really creative ways. It's not just the curriculum. Curriculum is a great starting point, but it's only the beginning. And you can read behind me all the different ways that I've seen, and I'm sure there are others that are doing some pretty neat things. So let's talk about this curriculum. So we have a curriculum that we put together. Now, developing a global curriculum is challenging. The reason it's challenging is because I can't necessarily cover everything. We didn't want it to be too big, because if it's too big, nobody will teach it. And if it's too small, it's inconsequential. So we had to find that medium ground, and I think we did. So it's the right length. It has enough information to give the students an introduction into the world of sustainability and how it impacts our business. It's an introduction. It's flexible and it's customizable. This is a really important point. We have schools around the world that are using the curriculum. In a number of instances, they've come to me and said, look, I love this, but can I change some of this? Absolutely. We just need to know what your changes are. If you need to make it customizable to fit into your curriculum, it's possible. If it needs to be flexible, it's possible. The point is, and our goal and our objective is to get it into the hands of as many students as possible all over the planet. So that's how we're doing it. This is the way it comes together. There are 7 parts to it, 7 days. So day 1 is the overall sort of big picture stuff. Then we get into agriculture. Then we get into animal husbandry. Then seafood. Then energy. Then water. And then waste. Remember in the beginning of the slide, I had those 4 pictures, food, energy, water, waste. That's how we divide it up in the curriculum. Now, one of the really interesting points, though, about this is while that division makes sense pedagogically, it's all interconnected. You can't have a discussion about water without talking about waste, energy, and food. And you can't have a discussion about food without talking about energy, water, and waste. It all fits together, but this is how we divide it up. So, there we go. 7 days. Now, when I say 7 days, what I really mean is 7 classes. Each class period is 2.5 hours long. Again, customizable. But I think this is the really interesting thing. When somebody hears the word class, and again, educators in the room, you'll get this entirely, right? You have a curriculum. Your curriculum is full. It's not like you're somehow like, gosh, what are we going to teach today? No, it's set. And if I go to you and say, I have a 7-day class, immediately the response is, whoa, where do I put 7-day class? And I got all these classes that are filled. This is the point. It's flexible. So take a day, and when you talk about seafood, put it in your fish class. When you're talking about animal husbandry, put it when you're teaching about meats. You can move things around. It's not that it has to be taught as 7 consecutive days or once a week over 7 weeks. You can move it around. And we'll work with you to figure out how to do that so it works for your program. What do you get? You get a PowerPoint. PowerPoint has copious notes. The reason we put copious notes for the instructor is because not every chef is an expert in sustainability. And some of the feedback we got early on was, well, this is great. We want to teach it, but I don't know if I have somebody who can teach it. Great. We have so many notes in there that it really is self-explanatory. And so it's not a scary thing to teach. You get detailed lesson plans, literally down to the minute. 10 minutes here, 15 minutes here, and what you should do in each of those. So here's the introduction. Here are the questions you want to ask. Here's a discussion question you might want to throw out. Critical terminology for the day. There's everything the students need to know. I mean, it's spelled out for you. We did everything in our power to give you everything you need to make this happen. We give you a quiz for each day. We give you an assessment tool before and after. We give you ideas for homework if you want to give them homework. Papers, debates. It's all for you. You don't have to do that stuff. If you need it, it's there. The philosophy of the class works this way. Every day we talk about the global issue. So if we're talking about water, what are the global issues of water? Because every student has to start from the premise of why. Why is it important? Why are we learning about water? We know that younger people today, the first question in their brain every time they're learning is why. They may not say it, but they're thinking it. So we answer it for them. Then we move it into the regional, local level. Now this is where it gets a little tricky. Because if you're teaching about water and you live in, let's see, which is a country I can pick on out there? Can't see. Let's say, we've got the Swedes back there. I'm living in Sweden, okay? And so they're going to teach it. They have to do a little research to figure out what are the water issues in Sweden. We don't know that. We can't write a curriculum that talks about water issues in every country. So there is a little bit of work that that teacher has to do to customize it, to make it something that is relevant to the students. Then we move it into food service. So how do we look at water in food service? Where do we use water in food service? How do we save water? How can we save water in cooking and cleaning and et cetera, et cetera? And then lastly is, what can I do as an individual? For those of you here who speak Spanish, we got it in Spanish for you. That's the only language we've translated it into. But if somebody comes to me and says, hey, I've got a bunch of people and we need to translate this, let's have that discussion. I'm very willing to have that discussion. I love this slide. So how much does it cost? All of us in the educational world were stretched for money. I think all of us. I know we are. Everybody is. It costs exactly nothing. Got it? Exactly nothing. This is done on purpose because remember what I said, the goal and the objective of this is to get it in the hands of as many students as possible so we don't charge anything. The only thing we require, and again, it's provided for you, is the assessment tools. Because we have to know who's doing it, and basically we're answering the question, how much did you learn? And for educators, that's what we do anyways. That's normal. That's the only price associated with it. When you finish it, if you wish, you can provide us with the names, and we'll give you certification, a little certificate that the students have completed it. So it's one more piece of certification that the students can get, or anyways. All right. How do you register? You go online, you go to Feed the Planet, right on the website. It's one of those boxes on the right-hand side. Click on it, open it up. You're going to see basically a lot of the stuff I just talked about, a little thing of why I should do this, a little link on there. Click on it, takes you to a form. You fill out the form, hit send. It goes to Paris. Paris sends it to me. I look at it. If you're a member school already, you're done, you're in, you're good to go. If it's a school that we don't know about, then we're going to reach out to the local chef association and say, tell us about this place. Is this okay? Because we don't want a school to, that's not really a school. It's a little bit like, I think it was John or Michael, I think was talking about earlier, that, it's got to be a real school. But we want to get it in the hands of as many students as we can. At that point, you then get all the material. We send it to you, and we set up a webinar with you. Because we don't just send you the stuff and say, good luck to you. We're here to support you. So, at least for now, I will be on the computer with you to help you sort of strategize on how to teach it. If when whoever's teaching it is teaching it and they're stuck on day 5 and they're like, now what do I do? I'm not sure, I don't remember. Send an email. Hey, I need to have a quick, consultation. What do we do on day 5? We're here to support you. Ready for prime time. The product is there. The support is there. We have some new extra support in Paris. Right, Ragnar? Yes, we do. That's going to help streamline the process. You get responses even faster. And we're good to go. So that's my presentation. And do we have time for a question, or do we got to keep moving out of here? You are connected.
I mean, I am not the last speaker. Chris is the last speaker. I want to assure you of that. I am just here to sort of wrap it up and thank you for coming here. And this was meant to be a forum. Sorry, am I wrong? Chris is not the last speaker. We have another one to go. Oh yeah, we have very interesting data coming on stage actually right now. And I think we do not have a lot of questions. I think people are getting tired. But very quickly, if there is a hand ready to be raised right now.
There is a hand to be raised.
Sorry. Let's do questions then. I think
and for the rest of you, we're around the next 2 days. Myself or Shona, who's the vice chair of the Feed the Planet Committee, we're at the Worldchefs booth downstairs in the Congress exhibition
A
hall.
question from the
so
floor,
come
sorry.
by and please talk to us. Yes.
Sir, I'm part of a a hospitality management school in the Philippines. Your program seems applicable also to hospitality management and not just culinary arts. Would it be possible for us to get some feedback if we can use your program even for hospitality management?
There you go.
All right, I'll get in touch with you.
Can do. Can do.
Again, it's, even in the world of hospitality, hospitality intersects with culinary. I mean, I always say hospitality, culinary are brother and sister, the same family. So
And any other
Yes.
quick questions?
thank you.
Forget.
Okay.
Nope. Thank you very much.
We're around.
Get
Thank you very
Koetke,
much.
Mr. Sustainability, thank you very much.